All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it has BSS for these two Google searches. All right, so we're out here in the GBC universe again, where we bring declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video on the profile, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here, in white, high on the left, low on the right. And if a boudoir photographer is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, from high intent to low or no intent. At least bringing them in awareness, even if they're low or no intent, awareness that we exist. And if we have a boudoir photographer business that's falling, they're probably missing chunks somewhere here on the intent spectrum. So here we talk about BSS. We're way over on the left side. Highest intent peeps. This is social search and Google search. Search on social networks for boudoir photo shoot in my city. See on Google search, the highest intent keyword searches. And over on the right, that's our other sister brand, different profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. So we're talking about BLCS. Talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there, niche pain. And right now we currently only deal with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. And that side on the right, that's the lowest intent peeps, interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. They have no intent for boudoir right now. Next, moving on, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's what it is. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If we got 0 slots, we're basically dead because we have, we've already talked about approximately 80% of Google searches never reach page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80% of searches, aka the bulk of the market, is page 1 only. So from page 2, we're basically dead. Page 1, that's if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's still not enough. There's there's 10 organic slots. There's one, or one out of, if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone else got 1 slot, then a buyer's just, clicking down all of page 1, basically never going to go to page 2. Open up everyone's website, going to compare, contrast, price shop all these boudoir photographers. And as a result, we're still basically invisible because we're being price shopped so much. So we know that 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, but it's not normal. Dude, it's not normal to have that many, those few slots on page 1 when Google actually wants to give us way more to those that want to take them. So 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone understands, but also newly, the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody understands yet. So market saturation, that seems like every week someone get a new iPhone, we see them throwing up their Google My Business profile, their website. Now they say they do boudoir, they're a boudoir photographer. Or they get a new camera, they're posting in the mom groups. They also do boudoir photo shoots now. So that's market saturation. Also, COVID, tons of new peeps came into the marketplace because nobody could work. People lost their jobs. But again, everyone's got a phone with a great camera, so bringing in a ton more peeps to become boudoir photographers. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is a big one. This is what I've seen is the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. This is where everyone, well, if everyone believes it, kind of automatically, implicitly, this is where, they're kind of like, everyone gets either 0-1 slots on page 1 of Google. And so, I had, a slot number 8 on Google. The boudoir photographer ranked above me. I got kicked down to slot 10. And, it is what it is because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on Google. And there's basically nothing I can do about it. But this is 100% incorrect. Google actually will give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who actually want the page 1 slots. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google organic search in 10 days. So I know Google gives these slots out to the people that want to take them. And as a result, if people believe this page 1 equality is true, then they never kind of break out of the box and look for solutions. And, well, there were no real good solutions before it. But now we got one, which you'll see then two pictures from here. So we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, with boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So micro universe taking shape, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Thankfully, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And how do we know that? Because we invented it. And so it works exactly as it says. S cubed methodology, social search saturation. We saturate social search with our highest intent, highest demand keywords for highest intent buyers, what they would be searching on Google, to saturate social search so we show up for all those. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains, all the small streams and rivers, then flow into the large Amazon River. These then eventually all flow into Google, page one Google search. But the initial upstream is ranking high, page one social search across all the four major social networks. Now, SQ methodology, this is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully, for boudoir photographers, it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Literally the only thing. And as a result, we, basically as a result, that's the only thing that gets us results relatively quickly. Because the only other thing I've seen actually successfully outcompete is market saturation having a brand. But dude, that takes like 5 years minimum, more like 10 years. So because AI is coming taking people's jobs, we ain't got 5 or 10 years anymore. We got to move ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. And S cubed methodology is that vehicle. So, imagine we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Omaha, Nebraska. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're boudoir photographers. Everyone's ranking there. And as a result, we are competing with all these boudoir photographers for page one. So we say, you know what? Screw this. The only chance we got of competing here is cranking S cubed methodology up to the max. And luckily, I was working with no one else in Omaha, so you could actually hire me. So we crank it up to the max, and let's say we are successfully, we're ranking the first 300 slots, page one of, search in all these social networks. Well, not even page one, dude. That's like a lot more pages than page one, but the first 300 slots, we're taking them up. And as a result, we are, there's a small rivers that flow into page one in Google. So we're taking the first 300 organic slots on Google as well. And there's 10 organic slots per page. So we're literally taking the first 30 pages, all the organic slots from them. And so anytime anyone in our city search for the boudoir photographer with those high intent keywords, they are basically anywhere they look. They're basically only finding us. Now, for organic search, they could go to page 31 to essentially start finding our competitors. But dude, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 search only. So who the heck's hitting page 31? Basically nobody. So as a result, even though there are 999,999 other boudoir photographers and us competing against us, since we captured social search and Google search, the highest intent keywords are basically the only one that's being found. So whose business is the only one growing as a result? Our business. Out of all million boudoir photographers. So that's what we mean what I mean when I say this is the only thing I've discovered other than brand that can successfully compete against market saturation. Compete against and still grow the business. Now, once we treat BSS with S cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. And boom, we get an instant bonus benefit, an initial benefit, which is for every new slot we acquire on page one, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. So this is awesome because, hey, we're getting more slots on page one. We get, more of, out of 10 attention because there's 10 slots, increasing our attention. But actually, we're decreasing the number of boudoir photographers we're competing against because we're kicking a new one off every time we rank another, we get another slot on there. That's an initial benefit initially right off the bat using S cubed methodology. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. BSV, we have a GBC minimum here, recommended minimum of reaching 3 out of 10 slots on page one Google search, because basically everyone else will have one slot. So if Google's recommended us 3 times, well, buyers can be like, well, what the hell? Why is Google recommend this person? They must be good. They may even click to us, only us, and not even look at the other options on page one. But in addition, there's a tiny chance another boudoir photographer has 2 slots on page one. So if we got 3 slots, we're out competing everyone that has 0, 1, or 2 slots on page one of Google search. Now we also know that boudoir photographer with BSV, with boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our full micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the 2 horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Now we use S cubed methodology. We finally have a solution. Thank the universe. page one visibility. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now my results. So myself, purely using SQL methodology, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And come down to organic. Organic results, we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is also me. And I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1. And I got up to 9 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1, in only 10 days. So these are my own results utilizing S-cubed methodology. So we're not going to say if this boudoir photography business has BSS, yes or no, for these 2 Google searches. So let's see. Boom. All right. Santa Clara, San Jose. All right, right here. So Santa Clara. All right, so let's see. We got 1 out of 10. And that. And, well, we got 1 out of 10. I mean, we got the Google, but we don't count that as Google, the 10 organic slots. So we got 1 out of 10. Dang. Yeah, no, I know actually Santa Clara is right in the middle of San Jose, so that actually makes sense. More kind of keyword overlap competing for these slots. So yeah, dude, we got BSS here with well search sameness. Let's simply look at the 10 organic slots. Now let's also look at San Jose. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. We got all right. We got 1 out of 10 again. So we got BSS. All right, so we got BSS for both searches. We're at 1 out of 10 for both. And so, yeah, we got BSS, and also we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots to really get that boudoir search visibility. So, if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you went and you've done your local search, your city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, you noticed you either had BSS, so you have BSS for either one or both of those searches, or you are you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google for, again, either 1 or 2 of those slots. And you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. And you've actually seen Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. So you're saying, okay, now SQ methodology makes sense. And you're seeing that this is the only path forward for yourself. And you've actually been waiting for something like this. And you're liking the initial benefits more, page 1 links on Google. You're liking the second initial benefit, which is actually like second a little bit more, which is you're able to kick your competitors off of Google, make them invisible, page 2 and deeper. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, more, new gear eventually over time. More people hop on to become boudoir photographers, so it gets harder and harder over time. But you're looking ahead and you're like, man, AI is currently taking people's jobs. And last time people lost jobs, COVID, a new flood of boudoir photographers came in because everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera. So it's easy to start saying shoot boudoir down now, offer it cheaply, kill margins for everyone. I'll later compete in boudoir photographers, kind of just annoy, basically like take up slots page 1 on Google. And so you're seeing, okay, you're seeing more and more people are going to be entering the marketplace above and beyond the people getting new gear, forced to because of losing their job due to AI. So you're like, okay, we need to actually fortify our slots on page 1 and actually have so many backup links that Google wants to rank us on page 1. But since there's only 10 slots, literally it cannot rank us anymore. But those backup slots will literally be like preventing current competitors from ever ranking on page 1 or any future competitors from ranking on page 1. Kind of like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city is below sea level, fortifying against the ocean. So you're seeing, okay, you got to fortify, and you're like, oh, SQ methodology will give me that future benefit as well. That's the exact perfect tool to use to achieve that goal. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you know you need these things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also looking ahead to the future and the future benefits that we haven't talked about yet of utilizing SQ methodology, which is, we're kind of building these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, our website name, our business name, our name, kind of out there on the internet. And it's kind of like, columns to the, Parthenon, Athens, Greece, or, the spokes into our hub, like them in, the center of a bike tire, where our business name's the hub. So we've got all of these columns plugged into us. And what this is like building AI mindshare for those keywords: age, relevance, frequency, authority, repetition. So we're building AI mindshare for these keywords, and every day we successfully do this, which is exactly what SQ methodology does, we are increasing the probability we'll be recommended here in the most premium placement AI overview of the top of Google search, which we cannot pay for with ads to get. And so you're seeing that benefit, you're liking that feature benefit. You're also understanding that, well, if it's helping with that, it will also increase probability of every single day of being recommended on AI search, ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. You're recognizing the more kind of this invisible thematic keyword columns you plug into your brand, the higher and higher probability every single day recommended to searchers on those platforms. And yeah, Google still owns practically 90% of global search, but dude, AI search is growing every single day, and Google's kind of slowly decaying every single day. Standard Google search. So you're recognizing that you want these benefits, and you're also recognizing, since my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you can actually box out your competitors from ever using this strategy, get all the benefits against them, the immediate benefits, the 3 future benefits, and the 4th one would be, grown actually a known brand, approximately 8x faster than conventional methods. And you would, you're recognizing you could actually put massive distance between yourself and any of your current competitors or any future competitors, where basically you get so far ahead, there's like literally basically no chance for them to catch up. And as a result, when you actually want to, since you decide to be first mover on this, because you understand if a competing boudoir photographer hops on this first, then you'd be locked out. You'd be getting kicked off page 1 of all the highest intent Google searches. Get to page 2 and deeper, where approximately 80% of the market will never ever see you because they're page 1 and done searches. And we would actually be making up massive progress against you, boxing you out from ever getting on page 1. And me and your competitor would be building up massive momentum and invisible thematic keyword column back-end AI mindshare, kind of invisibly, with the AI search recommenders. And I remember last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, with ChatGPT, and recommended me 3. And I actually went and did manual search Google and Facebook simply to see how many are actually out there. Dude, there's like 60. So you're seeing, yeah, we definitely gotta find some way to get on these AI searches. And you actually want, you're saying that if a competitor is making all this momentum, then making all this progress, and you're frozen out, you'd actually have to rederive SQ methodology yourself, or drive it for the first time. You would never actually trust that you've derived it 100% correctly, but then you'd have to execute same amount as us every single day. And if you did all that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap between your competitor and me and you. So you'd have to actually double or triple our effort, our output every single day. And then if you were to do that, then you could steal back some of the AI mindshare momentum from us, get some links, but you would never feel 100% confident you've even derived the strategy correct in the first place. So you'd probably not even feel confident putting in the time to do all that. Out execute us 2 to 3x every single day. And plus, who's got 80 hours a day to do that? So you decide to screw that. You decide to be the first mover in your city, block out all your competitors from using the strategy. And if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when I do open the hospital up for new patients, shoot us a DM, and we'll see if you qualify to use our S cubed methodology.